Most people get stuck in mental loops, repetitive thoughts, automatic reactions, predictable responses, and they don't realize that these patterns can be interrupted, redirected, and replaced using specific language structures that bypass conscious resistance. What I'm about to share with you isn't basic psychology. This is advanced conversational hypnosis, the kind of pattern work that therapists charge premium rates to teach and use in their practice. Because when you can interrupt patterns in yourself and others, you become incredibly powerful at creating change. You can choose right now if you'd like to learn this for self-mastery or ethical influence. Because these patterns work whether interrupting your limiting thought loops or helping someone else break free from theirs. So get comfortable, because you're about to discover how skilled communicators create devastatingly effective pattern interrupts that feel completely natural. First, you must learn to recognize patterns before they complete their cycle. And this recognition happens automatically when you know what to look for. Every limiting pattern has a predictable structure, a beginning, middle, and end. The moment you identify the beginning, you have the power to change the ending. And as you become aware of patterns, you naturally develop the ability to interrupt them smoothly, to redirect them elegantly, to replace them completely. And this skill transfers automatically from self-application to interpersonal influence. When someone's stuck in a repetitive mental loop, you can interrupt the pattern by introducing strategic confusion. That's interesting, and I'm curious whether you notice that or notice this first. Because sometimes when we think we're thinking about thinking, we forget to remember, or remember to forget, what we are originally not thinking about. And as you practice this, you develop the ability to create elegant confusion that breaks the trance of limiting patterns while installing new possibilities. Another powerful interrupt involves shifting time frames mid-pattern. So you're saying that, and I wonder if 5 years from now, when you look back at this moment, you'll remember how this was actually the beginning of something completely different than what you thought you were experiencing right now. And just as patterns naturally want to complete, you might find yourself naturally wanting to subscribe to content that teaches these advanced techniques, because influence-minded people automatically seek out resources that expand their capabilities, enhance their skills, accelerate their mastery. Truly elegant interrupts don't fight the pattern. They redirect its energy toward a more useful outcome. That's exactly right. And what's fascinating is how that pattern that seems like a problem is actually your mind's way of preparing you for something much better that you haven't consciously realized yet. Now, here's where it gets really powerful. You can stack multiple interrupts, creating what we call a cascade pattern break. You start with confusion. Interesting. And I wonder, then add temporal shifting. When you look back on this, then install the reframe. You realize this was actually future pace the change, the beginning of your breakthrough. These same techniques that work so powerfully in conversation with others work even more effectively when you use them on your own limiting patterns. The moment you catch yourself in a familiar loop, you can interrupt it immediately by asking, "That's interesting, and I wonder what would happen if instead of completing this thought, I choose to think something completely different right now." And as you practice these interrupts, you become naturally skilled at breaking any pattern, redirecting any loop, creating any change that serves your highest good. When someone else is stuck in a limiting pattern, you can help them break free using these same linguistic structures. If they're catastrophizing, interrupt with, "That's one way to see it. And I'm curious, what would someone who loves you unconditionally say about this situation right now?" If they're stuck in a victim loop, redirect with, "So that happened. And what's interesting is how this experience is actually preparing you for something you haven't imagined yet. With this, you are becoming someone who breaks patterns effortlessly, someone who interrupts limitations naturally, someone who creates change elegantly, both in yourself and others. Every time you practice these linguistic structures, you strengthen this identity, deepen this skill, you master this art. In the conversations ahead, you'll find yourself automatically recognizing patterns, smoothly disrupting loops, elegantly redirecting energy toward more useful outcomes. And you might be surprised to discover how people respond when you interrupt their limitations with such skill, such grace, such effectiveness that they thank you for helping them break free. These pattern interrupt techniques, combined with perspective shifting, make you incredibly effective at creating change in any context, with anyone, including yourself. Because when you can interrupt limiting patterns and install flexible perspectives, you become a change catalyst, someone who transforms conversations, shifts dynamics, creates breakthroughs wherever you go. In a moment, I'll bring you back, and you'll return knowing that you are someone who masters patterns, someone who influences with elegance, someone who creates positive change through the power of advanced linguistics. As I count forward from 1, carrying these skills with you, 2, trusting your pattern interruptibilities, 3, feeling confident with your influence, 4, ready to practice these techniques ethically, 5, fully present, completely masterful. And that's conversational hypnosis at the pattern interrupt level, using linguistic structures that most people will never understand. You now possess these tools. Apply them ethically, and you'll discover their power. Small interrupts, quantum transformation. You are now equipped with advanced influence techniques and limitless possibilities.